Are you deciding between St. Petersburg, Florida and Clearwater, Florida? Well, I know for a lot of people it's a tough call. Both are incredible Florida cities, each with its own unique vibe, but which one is the better fit for you? That's where I come in. Today I'm gonna break down the pros and cons of living in each city. So if you're thinking about moving to Pinellas County, Florida, stick around, you won't wanna miss this. If we haven't met yet, welcome. My name is Jeffrey and I create videos all about life in St. Petersburg to help you decide if this area is right for you. I've lived in Florida my entire life, and after years in St. Pete, I know what it's really like to live here. Plus, as a licensed realtor, I've helped countless people buy, sell, and relocate, and I would love to help you too. My contact info is below, so feel free to reach out anytime with any questions you have. But without further ado, let's dive in. Here's the breakdown of St. Petersburg versus Clearwater. Okay, so let's start off with the overall lifestyle in each city. Both St. Pete and Clearwater offer the typical Florida sunshine, beautiful beaches, and waterfront living, but they have completely different vibes. For St. Pete, it's more trendy, artsy, and walkable, especially in the downtown area, with a small but big city feel. The rest of the city outside of downtown St. Pete is car dependent, and most people living here, even downtown, still have a vehicle to get around more easily. In St. Petersburg, there's tons of restaurants, bars, and cultural spots like museums and murals. It's definitely a little bit tourist heavy, especially around downtown and the beaches, but that's just something to expect when you live in a beautiful place like St. Petersburg. When it comes to Clearwater, you can think more classic beach town with a laid back atmosphere. It is completely car dependent in Clearwater for getting around the city and getting to where you need to go. There's a lot less nightlife in Clearwater, but it's a lot more family friendly entertainment, and kind of think like resort style areas. That's a lot more what goes on in Clearwater as compared to St. Petersburg. And also very much like St. Petersburg, Clearwater can get very tourist heavy, especially around the beaches. That's just something to be expected. So if you love an active nightlife and art scene, St. Pete may be your spot, but if you want to acquire a more residential area, Clearwater might be the better bet for you. Not to say that St. Pete doesn't have its quiet residential spots, it's just perfect for someone who has a more active lifestyle, and Clearwater's maybe a little bit better if you want to be a little bit more laid back. Okay, so now let's talk about real estate, a topic near and dear to my heart, because home prices and market trends can vary widely between these two cities. Just to give you a ballpark overview, the median home price in St. Petersburg is somewhere in the mid 4s, and in Clearwater it's somewhere in the low 3s. But now something to keep in mind is that these prices can go up or down pretty significantly for a variety of different reasons, like location, size, and proximity to the waterfront. In Clearwater, you'll find a variety of homes, including some beachfront condos, 2-story townhouses, duplexes, single-family homes, and pretty large beachfront estates with options for both waterfront and inland locations. In St. Petersburg, you're also going to find a diverse range of housing options, from charming bungalows and some more historic homes to a lot of very modern luxury condos and luxury penthouses, catering to a lot of different budgets and preferences. And also very similar to Clearwater, since both of us share the same peninsula, you're going to have a lot of options for waterfront and inland as well. On average, you can expect to pay somewhere in the ballpark of $280 to $395 per month for things like utilities, electricity, water, and internet, as well as trash pickup in St. Pete and in Clearwater. Okay, now let's talk about food. If you're into cooking at home, you'll find that grocery prices in St. Pete are pretty standard for Florida, although it's quite high compared to the rest of the nation. Here's a breakdown of what you're looking at on average. For a basic grocery bill for one person, you're probably spending somewhere between $250 and $300 a month, of course, depending on your shopping habits. It's gonna be a little bit different if you're buying organic or higher end products, shopping at somewhere like Whole Foods or Fresh Market, compared to if you were just shopping at like Publix or Aldi, for instance. If you like eating out, St. Pete and Clearwater have a booming food scene. On average, a meal at a casual restaurant is gonna run you somewhere between $12 and $20 per person, while a 3-course meal at a mid-range restaurant can cost anywhere from $40 to $60. But of course, there's a lot of luxury dining options here in St. Pete and in Clearwater where you can expect to pay a lot more. Overall, these areas are seeing a lot of growth and development as more and more people flock to this area of Florida, and both cities are really great for just about anybody. Okay, something else you might want to consider is how you're going to get around if you live in St. Petersburg compared to Clearwater. In St. Pete's downtown and beach areas, they're a lot more walkable and bike friendly with pretty large crosswalks, sidewalks, and bike lanes. It also makes for a pretty pleasant way to get around because you're just out connecting with nature in our gorgeous sunshine. But don't be fooled, the rest of St. Pete is extremely car dependent. It's definitely something where if you move to St. Petersburg, even if you live in downtown St. Pete, you should probably plan on having a car just to make getting around more easy. The city does offer transportation, which is the PSTA, and that can get you around almost anywhere, but a lot of people just prefer to have their own vehicle here, including myself. I'd much prefer getting around in my own car. If you're in downtown St. Petersburg or at the beach, you'll have the Sunrunner and the Looper available to take you around. Pretty conveniently, the Sunrunner takes you from downtown to Pasadena and St. Pete Beach, as well as coming back. And the Sunrunner buses arrive every 15 minutes from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday through Saturday. Traffic can get pretty busy in St. Pete during peak rush hours or when there's an event going on, which is often, but it goes pretty quick. Clearwater is pretty similar as well in this aspect. It's a car-dependent city, but there are definitely areas where you can walk around easily, like around the beach areas. And the Clearwater Jolly Trolley offers a fun and unique way to explore Clearwater Beach, as well as the coastal towns of North Pinellas County. That trolley allows allows you to visit key locations like the district in downtown Clearwater, Dunedin, which is a beautiful, quaint little city, Palm Harbor in the famous Tarpon Springs Sponge Docks, which is definitely a fun day trip, by the way, if you're ever in the area. Clearwater has traffic as well, especially during those peak rush hours, and especially during tourist seasons, as you can imagine. Clearwater Beach is nationally ranked as one of the best beaches, so it gets pretty busy down there, especially in the spring and summer. So if you plan to work in Tampa or another city nearby, both cities are going to require a commute over a bridge, and there's really not much of a difference in commuting times since you're still near a major highway, but I always recommend looking into which route's going to make the most sense for you. And since Clearwater's a little bit more to the west, it might add a few minutes to a daily commute if you were going to Tampa. So now let's talk about the beaches and the outdoor activities. And of course, we cannot talk about St. Pete or Clearwater without talking about the beaches. So first, for Clearwater Beach, it is pretty regularly ranked as one of the best beaches in the entire nation, with white sand, turquoise water, and tons of water activities, pretty much anything you can think of. It's pretty tourist heavy year round. You really don't get a break from people coming to visit this beach just because it is one of the best beaches in the country. And it's really great for anybody, with Pier 60 events and water sports always going on. Clearwater Beach was actually recently named the #1 beach in the South by USA Today, and has been named America's #1 beach several times in recent years. You can rent a shaded cabana for the day. All you need to do is settle in and an attendant will come by. And for a low-key beach day, you can walk to the north where crowds thin out a little bit in case you want to get away from some of the action. Just to the south, beyond Clearwater Pass, you'll find Sandkey Park, which is this stunning 95-acre oasis. It's got these pristine beaches and expansive parkland. It is just absolutely beautiful. It really can't be beat. And no matter what spot you choose, you're always going to find plenty of amenities nearby. There's no shortage of things to do. Anything you can imagine on the beach or by the water, you will have access to in Clearwater. I also definitely recommend checking out the Clearwater Marine Aquarium to get up and close with some aquatic life. Now for the St. Pete beaches, there's a lot more of a local feel. Paso Grill and Treasure Island are some of my personal favorites. St. Pete Beach is home to TripAdvisor's #1 beach in the US in 2021, and these friendly, laid-back beach towns are the best, in my opinion. It's definitely not as crowded as Clearwater Beach, but still can get pretty lively, especially in some of the peak months. And it's a little bit better for those who want a more relaxed, residential beachfront lifestyle. It's also an amazing place to watch sunsets and collect shells. And very similar to Clearwater Beach, there's plenty of shopping, stores, and restaurants, as well as any amenity you could look at, from renting jet skis to boats to parasailing, just going swimming in our beautiful crystal clear waters. It's really quite a nice place to be. You can't go wrong with either option. All right, so let's do a quick recap of some of the pros and cons that we've covered. For the St. Pete, pros are going to be a walkable city with a vibrant downtown. There's a lot more arts, culture, and a nightlife scene in St. Petersburg as comparison to Clearwater. And there's definitely a very strong real estate market with a lot of appreciation potential as the city continues to grow. For St. Pete, some of the cons might be it can be a little bit more pricey, especially in some of the trendy areas, or if you did want one of these luxury condos in downtown St. Pete. And there's less of a traditional beach town feel. It's a little bit more modern. For Clearwater, the pros are going to be world famous beaches and kind of like a resort town vibe to it. There's a lot more single family home options and less of these like luxury downtown, high rises. It's also a little bit more affordable than St. Pete on average in some of these areas. The cons for Clearwater are going to be heavier traffic and a lot more busy when it comes to tourist season. So in those peak months, just expect there to be a lot of people milling about. And there's not quite as much nightlife or things to do in that regard, since it's less of a city feel and more of like a laid back residential area. So are you still not sure which city is right for you? It's definitely a difficult decision. And I hope in this video, at least we're able to shed a little bit of light on what it's like living in these two different cities. But if you still have questions or you want to learn more, that's definitely where me and my team come in. Whether you're buying or selling, moving to or from St. Pete or Clearwater, we're here to help. Give me a call. You can find my number below and more information in the description. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more insights about living in Pinellas County, and comment below some other topics you'd like us to cover in different videos. We want these to be useful to you. Without further ado, we'll see you in the next one.